did Candid camera shape your comedy?
It shaped my life, not my comedy, my life. My fondest and warmest and clearest memories of life as a child all kind of are surrounded by laughter. It was like a magnet. I just knew that not only if I laughed, but if somebody else laughed, there's an endorphin. I just wanted to be around the light. On one particular memory that is so strong for me is Alan Funt's Candid Camera on a Sunday night, which is a prank show. I didn't know that. I didn't understand and I couldn't articulate, but I was sitting there with my parents watching, and Alan Funt was about to do a prank. And he explained to us what he was going to do. When he told us this, it was that anticipation. I remember turning back to my parents and we were just laughing, going, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? The laughter and that feeling. And I turned around and my parents were like tearing and laughing and we were all laughing together. And there was just this release of whatever laughter releases. I don't know if they're endorphins, I don't know what it is, but it's just like, it was just the most wonderful thing and it was great. And I continually, throughout life, have tried to recapture that moment.
You wrote, the more awkward, annoying, or humiliating the situation is, the funnier.
When I do something, not to be mean, but when I do something where I can control if I can pull that desk away and make you go, oh my God, what happened to me? It's making me laugh. And that's what I'm always trying to do. I'm always trying to regain that thing. Now, I never understood, now I do, but I never understood that I don't have an audience. Like I never told my friends. I didn't have friends.
Wait, on the friend front, how about having your buddy cross-dress in the airport?
That's something that's equally as funny to remember, and I'm ashamed of myself.
Really?
For going that far, yes.
Why?
I don't want to upset anybody, and I don't want to ruin anybody's day, and I don't want to ruin anybody's moment. That's all we have is moments, and that's all we have is time, and I don't want you to have any bad time in your life because of something that I did. And that went too far. I didn't know where to stop. And he got really, really angry, really, really embarrassed. Really, it's a funny story. He's wearing a dress on a 5-hour flight because he thinks that's the only way he could go on tour with me, where I could buy a ticket and my wife would fly for free. Which made no sense because it was under his name. You know, and it was kind of funny because I loved the squirming. So he'd be in a dress and I would send the flight attendant over to his seat to ask for his tickets, and he was nervous that he was going to get caught. And I told the flight attendants what was happening. They couldn't believe that this guy was sitting in a dress, and they would say, well, Louise, his name is Lou Dinos, why is your name different than Mr. Mandel's, and you're traveling on his thing? And he just with sweat and a dress, he would just go, it's my maiden name. I kept my maiden name. And you'd hear him talking like that. And it makes you laugh, but he was suffering the whole flight. And then there's no pants, he's wearing a dress, he's in front of 300 people. It was too much, too far.
Impacted the friendship?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're friends today, but I've apologized and continue to apologize many times. You know, he's gotten in trouble because of some of the pranks, you know. I sent a little boy to his house. It was Mark, who you met here, the Boy Meets World. His nephew was in town. He was 7 years old. I sent him to Lou's apartment sometime in the middle of the night with a little note saying, I'm your son. You don't know if I was some waitress you met who is no longer with us, and didn't know what to do. So on her deathbed, she sent him with a plane ticket and a note to Lou. And Lou called me and said, you're not gonna believe it. I have a son, my son is here. I was in bed, he woke me up at 3 a.m. And I said, I don't believe you. Put the kid on, and they put the kid on, and I had instructions for the kid. I said, when you give the phone back, and I want you to scream, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, and run out the door and down the hall of the apartment, and there's a car. Mark's waiting for you. Your uncle's waiting for you down below. He gives the phone back to Lou, and Lou's, can you believe this? My life has changed forever. And this kid runs. You can hear in the background, nobody loves me, nobody cares for me, and he runs. And Lou drops the phone, and in his underpants, this is 3 in the morning, he's running. There's an 8-year-old little boy, and he's running through an apartment building going, I love you, I want to care for you. And they called the police. Anyway, that's not good. It's not a good story.
How about the art prank that was played on you?
Yes, it was a gift for my 50th birthday. So my real good friends presented me with this kind of abstract art piece. And they told me that, and with a letter saying that the artist had won the Beverly Hills Art Show. And I'll be honest, I didn't love it, but I loved it because I thought that these are my good friends and family who know what I love, and I love art, and just the thought of them going out and spending what I thought was probably a fortune for the winner of this art show on something that they thought I would love. So it meant more to me than just whatever the face value of whatever I thought that art was. I put it up in a nice place in our house.
Prominently displayed.
Prominently displayed in the living room. And anyway, we moved, and we worked with a decorator, and that decorator made a room where I could put it, and also based on the colors in the painting, bought some furniture. So the whole thing, the room looked great with the art. And then at the house that I'm living in now, we built, and my wife said, is there any way that we can not have that piece of art? And I said, you know what? I've enjoyed it for like 20 years or whatever, or almost 20 years. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna donate it on behalf of me and our family to an orphanage, and they'll put it in their lobby. And it was donated by Howie Mandel and family, a piece of art, which sits prominently. And then, lo and behold, my, I think it's 65th birthday came around, might have been 67th. They presented me with a card, and in the card there was a Polaroid picture of them all sitting around drunk in one of their apartments, throwing paint on a canvas. And that paint was the painting. It wasn't a Beverly Hills, it was just a mess of 4 drunk guys. But to this day, there is an orphanage here in Los Angeles that has a framed piece of art donated by the Mandel family.
Do you think they know?
If they're fans of you.
You said, as a comic, I believe there's no such thing as too soon, and there's no such thing as too far. I don't believe there's a line.
There isn't, not in comedy. I don't believe there's a line. I am appalled at anybody who cancels, doxes, prevents anybody from practicing this art form. You don't have to like it. You can be offended by it. You could be appalled by it. But we shouldn't be censoring it and stopping it. Think of a painter. Is there something you shouldn't be allowed to paint? You don't have to like the painting. You don't have to buy it. You don't have to hang it in your house. You don't have to, but what, you can't say you can't use the color green. I understand people getting offended, but you have to find the sense of, I have to find the sense of humor. There's humor in everything, and humor always comes from darkness and bad. If you watch a clown falling down and you laugh at that, you're laughing at at somebody else's misfortune. That's what two guys walk into a bar, it's not a joke unless something horrible happens to one of them, or embarrassing or awkward. You have to find, that's why tragedy and comedy are those two masks. They're very, very similar. So if something tragic happens, sometimes the panacea, for some people, for me and my friends and the people that I admire, is to make a joke.
And you said at some point in the past few years, the window's closing on the art form, which I think is really scary and really debilitating.
Yes.
Explain that.
Well, I think the pendulum is coming back, so that was a darker time. But I feel like my friends were losing their jobs and losing their income because of things they were saying. You know, I was really good friends with Gilbert Gottfried, who I loved. He was a really good human being. You know, he lost that whole Aflac campaign because he wrote something on Twitter about the tsunami, I think in Taiwan at the time. He tried to make a joke. Whether the joke's funny or not, he lost a good portion of his income. I'm not arguing whether it was a good joke. I'm not arguing whether it was a tasteful joke, but he is a comedian. So because he did a joke, he got punished. And when we start punishing people for talking or for doing or for practicing their art form, that's kind of scary, isn't it? Because I'll speak for myself, you know, this is who I am. You know, everything I've ever been punished for, expelled for, gotten in trouble for is what I seem to get paid for now. Nobody recognized this as an art form. You know, I bump into people now who said they were in my high school, I was the funniest guy there. They weren't my friends, they didn't like me. Nobody liked me, I was odd. But, you know, there's a saying, there's a time and a place. I guess school and in the late 60s and early 70s was not the time or the place.